Hello everyone. I'm going to be making a zine. Yes, that's right. Over a year since I made my zine video, I think it was in June of 2021, I've decided I'm going to make my own zine, and it's been an ambition of mine for a long time, and I'm finally doing it, and I'm already becoming really over-ambitious about it, which is not the idea of zines at all. Feeling really excited and inspired and nervous and scared because I'm making something out of nothing. The only direction I have is my own, and I'm just not used to that being a commercial illustrator. I'm used to people telling me what to paint and me just being like, okay. Oh, by the way, I should say I'm in a house, which is kind of unexpected, isn't it? Not where I normally dwell. I'm cat sitting at the moment for my sister, so I'm in her house. I've done a few bits of client work, got that sent off, so I have this time to do it, and I could either spend my time reading on the sofa, which I've done a bit of and it's been really nice, or I could do a different kind of reading that relates to making a zine. So I am excited to be starting this, and I'm going to document the whole process so you can watch it. Shall I tell you what the zine's going to be about? I've decided to make a zine about Wales. Not the country, the animal. It was mostly in the start that I want to focus on the beauty of Wales, but then I also kind of wanted to talk about climate change because it's me. Whales are an amazing creature to talk about when it comes to climate change because they are really good at taking and storing carbon and also encouraging phytoplankton in our oceans, which sink so much carbon dioxide, like more than trees. I also wanted to talk and make artwork and explore the idea of our commodification of nature. So then I was like, do I want to have research a little bit about whaling? Because obviously that's a very brutal industry that puts on full display our destruction of nature. Then off the back of that, I was like, I'm in Bristol at the moment, which is a city in the UK. This city has a lot of skeletons in its closet when it comes to colonial times because it was a really big port for the transatlantic slave trade. And then I was thinking, was it also a port for whaling ships? So I did a bit of research on that. And then I found out about a whale bone. See, this is the rabbit hole. I found out about a whale bone in Bristol in a church, which was brought back from the first British expedition to North America. I feel like this whale bone is going to be the central part of this zine. This whalebone symbolises the beginnings of settler colonialism in North America, which obviously ties in a lot with climate justice and climate injustice. So it's just like so fascinating, and I'm just really want to make a zine about this, and I really just want to like nerd out and read lots of stuff. So I'm gonna do it and like take myself on little research trips. So I'm gonna go see that whalebone this week. Hopefully by the end of the week I can put the zine together and get it printed. I hope that sounds interesting. I think it sounds absolutely fascinating. Hello everyone. It's the next day now, so it's Tuesday, and it's Tuesday afternoon. I was filming another video this morning, so I've just got to my desk. I'm just setting up for an afternoon and evening of working on the zine. So yesterday I had some client work to do, and whilst I was doing that client work I was listening to a book called Fathoms, The World in the Whale by Rebecca Giggs. She's an Australian author. It's a book that I've seen referenced in a lot of places where I've been reading about whales. It seems to be the book to read, and it's really beautifully written, quite like philosophical as well. It's very broad and interesting, and yeah, really good. And also yesterday I read The Value of a Whale by Adrian Buller. This is a book that I've wanted to read for a little while. The cover of it is so striking. It's very different from Fathoms. It's not really much about whales at all. It's more about green capitalist solutions to the climate and ecological crisis. But she does open with a discussion on putting monetary value on something like a whale, and that's what green capitalists are doing as a solution to environmental destruction, trying to create capitalist value for these creatures. And so she argues about how that's not a very effective method. Probably quite off topic from my zine, but I just wanted to like educate myself on the limitations of green capitalism. I was also reading a lot of articles and gathering quotes on particular things that I might want to include in the zine. Yesterday was like a research day. I've got a lot of the research nailed down, and now I'm going to do a bit of planning, I think. So I've got my pieces of paper here. I think I'm going to do a 12-page zine. I think it's just going to be like a simple booklet. I haven't decided whether I'm going to sew or staple to bind it. It's just 3 sheets of A4, but obviously as you put it together, you have to start working out the plan of how the zine will look. So I've just labelled each page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that when you take it out, you can see that actually when you do the layout for print, you've got to have page 2 next to page 11. So now I'm just going through and I'm going to work out what kind of things I want to have on each spread and like the flow of the zine. I'm thinking that I want to start and finish the zine from the same place, which is the whales capture carbon. But in between all of that, I want to talk a little bit about colonialism and the commodification of nature. Really striking part of the book Fathoms, where she describes, I think it was a sperm whale that washed up to shore, the body of a sperm whale. It had a whole greenhouse inside its stomach, and that greenhouse washed into the ocean from the Spanish coast, and it's a region of Spain where a lot of produce from the UK for the UK is grown, so that we can have our tomatoes and our cucumbers all year round. So again, we don't seem to be able to escape our involvement in the destruction. As I've made this, I'm starting to feel a bit intimidated because it's 12 whole pages of art and research, and I just don't know whether it's too ambitious for a first zine. So it's Wednesday. Yesterday I was working on the text for the zine and also researching printers, and I've had some good quotes back from printers. One of them is like way too good to be true. They have like a service where they print zines, and they're based in the UK, and they bind it as well. And the pricing isn't so bad, so I might go with them. I was prepared to like bind it myself, but that would involve like buying one of those long-armed stapler things, and I don't really want to buy one because where would I put it in the van? Maybe I will just go with someone who does the whole service for you. So I've got today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm not going to get it done that time, but I would really like to. We'll see. I would like to have most of the physical artwork done, and then I can spend some time on my laptop as we're traveling around putting the zine together digitally, and then I can send it off to the printers, and that doesn't seem so bad. I just want to have the artwork done. I got myself ready and I'm gonna go. I'm allergic to this jumper I'm wearing, by the way. It's my sister's. I'm wearing all of her clothes whilst I'm here. Actually, I'm just wearing her knitwear because it's quite cold. It's, I don't know, woolen or mohair or something, which I'm allergic to, so I need to take an allergy tablet. Anyway, I got ready and I'm gonna go out to a cafe to finish writing everything, I think, because I am just very reclusive, and I also need to get some fresh air. I didn't leave the house yesterday. Feel the sun on my face, the weak winter sun, so I'll let you know how I get on. I had a very productive day today. I feel so excited. I think I've written the bulk of the zine. I need to add in a few quotes from books, but apart from that, I think I've got it. I think I've got the flow of it. I think I've got all 12 pages sorted, and I feel so happy and excited because when I first started working on this zine just a few days ago, I was like, these are some big topics and I don't know whether I can like tie it all up, keep it still in that zine format, which isn't going to be too like heavy. And also another thing that I really wanted was for it to end on like a hopeful note, and it definitely does that, because although I talk about some horrible things like whaling and colonialism and climate collapse, it has like a hopeful message at the end, and I'm really happy with what I've written, and I can't wait to share it. I really can't wait for people to read it. I've been thinking about sharing it with my sister and her husband because I'm in their house and I have written it whilst I've been here. So yeah, it would be nice for them to read it and get their thoughts. Another big challenging part of the zine making process is going to be the artwork. I have no idea what this zine is going to look like. I think what I'm going to do is open my software. I can't even remember what it's called. Affinity Designer, which is the software on my laptop that I haven't ever used, but I think it's what I'm going to use to mock up the zine and actually to make the final files for print. I bought myself a sandwich to eat, like a late lunch. I've just heard that Craig's coming back. He's been out in the van with the dogs, just travelling around, because it's just van life and being in a city is just not compatible. I worry about the van getting broken into, and the dogs don't enjoy it as much. It's just much better to be out in the country in a van. So Craig's gone off whilst I've been in the house cat sitting, but he's coming back because there's some bad weather coming our way. Yeah, I'm hoping he's going to make me a nutritious dinner, because I haven't been eating too well, actually. I've just been mostly snacking, which is what happens when I'm working on something that's really taking up a lot of my attention. Hello everyone, it's Thursday afternoon now, and I've been at this desk working for most of the day. I'm still working on the text of this zine, and I think it's really coming together now. I've also downloaded a free trial of InDesign, and I'm going to be using that to make the mock-up of the zine digitally. So I've been laying all the text into the double page spreads. I think I'm ready to start actually putting a paintbrush to paper. I've started to think about artwork for the zine. Definitely a few double page illustrations in there, and then probably some smaller illustrations. Whilst the light is fading and I've only got a couple of hours before my mum comes over for dinner, I'm going to start working on this painting. I'm starting with one of the double page spreads. This is like a skeleton of a whale, because I'm going to start with an illustration of a whale fall, which is described in my zine, but it's a process of a whale who lives out its natural lifespan and then falls and then dies in the ocean and falls to the bottom of the seabed. All of the life that sustains. And I've been watching some videos on YouTube of whale falls that have been discovered on the seafloor by, I guess they're marine biologists, I think, maybe. It's quite entertaining. I will, if I remember, I'll leave some links to ones that I've been watching. Their commentary is quite entertaining. If not, just Google it. Sounds like really gross and graphic, but actually when you look at the imagery, it's really beautiful, so I want to paint it. I've been feeling very drawn towards painting this scene. I'm thinking for this piece that I want to focus on like quite lilac-y, pastel-y shades, and I'll see where I get with it. On this day, I was out on my research trip, firstly stopping at the Bristol harbour to visit the replica of the Matthew, which is a small ship that John Cabot first sailed to Newfoundland in 1497. John Cabot was an Italian navigator and explorer. He was trying to find sponsorship for his exploration, and eventually Henry VII of England was the guy who sponsored his trip. He claimed land for the King of England. Bristol at the time was the second largest seaport in England, so a very significant place for expeditions to sail from. So this is the ship that Cabot and his crew of 18 men took on the voyage to the New World. This is a replica of the ship that returned to Bristol harbour, bearing gifts such as the whalebone, which I'm now going to go visit in the church. The reason I think the whalebone, and more broadly John Cabot's quote-unquote discovery of Newfoundland, is relevant to my zine about whales and climate change is because I've started to see it as a symbol of the greed of colonialism and the subsequent destruction of nature and indigenous culture. It could be a symbol of taking, of stealing something precious from another living being. The settler colonialism of North America began with Cabot's expedition from Bristol, And this was the beginning of the exploitation of natural resources like never seen before, meant to enrich Europeans at any expense, whether those losses were the whale populations in the following century, or the erasure, genocide and slavery of indigenous peoples from that stolen land. Hello. I just got back from a day out, a research trip, if you will. Earlier today I went to St Mary Redcliffe Church and I saw the Cabot whalebone. I got a postcard. I sketched it, a very rudimentary sketch because I hadn't had any water yet today, so I was really thirsty and dehydrated, so I didn't spend long sketching. Also went into Oxfam Books and I found this book, which I very promptly bought. It's kind of like a poetry book. I think Whale Nation is a poem, Heathcote Williams, who I'd not heard of. It's got a lot of imagery about whaling, about the whaling industry. I think I might get some inspiration from looking at this book. And another positive thing is I came home and I saw the painting that I've been working on. So yesterday evening, my mum came over for dinner. After she'd gone to bed, I came and worked in this room until about 2 a.m. So I was making a good start on the painting. And this morning, I mostly finished it now. I came back from being out all day, looked at the painting, and I was like, I actually really like that. And that's such a nice feeling, isn't it? Because as I was working on this, I was having a lot of self-doubt, worrying that this was going to be a waste of my time, and I have like limited time, and I want to make the zine good. And I was just feeling like I was being quite precious and tight, but I'm happy with how it has turned out, actually. I'll show it to you. This is one of the double page spreads in the zine, so this image is going to go across 2 pages. These next few days are really crucial for pushing the zine along and getting it finalised, because I need to get it to print by Wednesday next week. That's my plan, that's my hope. That would be amazing if I reached that target. I've had a good week, I think, in terms of productivity and moving this zine forward as much as I possibly can. So I'm feeling very happy. Tired, drained, but excited to be feeling creatively motivated because it's been such a while. Hi everyone. Today is Saturday morning. It's actually not morning, it's afternoon. And I'm having a weekend of trying to get as much artwork done as possible for the zine. So this morning I've been painting a sperm whale, and this is for another one of the double page spreads that's going to be in the zine. I've also planned out what my artwork's going to look like for the zine, how much I actually have to do. I've also got to design the front and back cover. I think they're going to be quite simple though. It's my last full day in-house cat sitting, so tomorrow we will be moving off. So we're getting the van ready, we're clearing up, using all the facilities of a house. The van's going to be going into the garage for about 3 days, so we're staying with my mum whilst that happens. I slept so badly last night, so yeah, I'm just feeling very tired, and I've got a huge mug of coffee and one of my favourite chocolate bars, which is this one. Left to do, I have the double page illustrated border. So, or maybe I might just do one page with an illustrated border. Background has a huge question mark over it. I feel like I need to get the detailed illustrations done first, place them on the page, and then think about what kind of backgrounds I need. I have some washes that you would have seen me doing this morning. I'm thinking of using this for the cover. I'm going to be scanning them at 1200 dpi, so hopefully that means that I should be able to like blow them up so I can kind of zoom in to the texture here. And then we've got like one that's like much lighter. Like I think something like this would sit quite well behind one of my illustrations. Got a kind of mid-bluey, purpley, and then another light one as well. So I'm going to scan these in and like play around with fitting them underneath the text and the illustrations. Yeah, we've had like quite a stressful few days, so I do feel a bit flat today and a bit like we're just surviving. It's definitely been testing us this past few days. Living this transient life. So we're in an Airbnb, a really nice dog-friendly Airbnb, which is good. And yeah, I've been working, obviously. It is quite difficult to get the work done when you're like moving around more and like you have a lot of sorting out to do in your personal life. But I did manage to get this done. This isn't how it looks on the page, but I wanted to do like an illustrated border on one of my pages. So these are the two lengths, and then these 4 squares go in each corner. That's like the first page in my zine is like an illustrated border. So we have a close-up of some phytoplankton here, and then deep sea with a seabed at the bottom, and an orca, a whale eye, a whale ribcage in the bottom of the ocean, and a whale tail cresting. This is the illustrated border put together. Kind of happy with that. And then this is the next spread. Hello! I left you last week when I was finishing up the zine, and last week I was able to send it over to my printers. They're printers that I previously used when I used to live in Bristol, and they're really good. And I've got another update for you today, my last update of this video, which is that I have got some proof copies of the zine here. This is what the cover looks like. Here's what one of them looks like. It's a 12-page full colour zine, and yeah, it's my very first zine. I went to pick up these proofs yesterday, could not be more happy with them. I was on such a high. Just the whole process of making this zine has been so rewarding. It's been so nice to feel creatively inspired. I haven't felt that way for quite a long time, obviously, because of my last video where I was talking about struggling to feel inspired in these times. It was a really great project to work on this, and I'm really excited to share it with you. There's an Etsy link below this video where you can go and buy it, and I'd really love to hear from you once you've read it and what you think of it. Yeah, I'm just really excited to share this with you, and one of my favourite things about zines is how that it inspires me to go and do more reading and learn more about particular topics. So I'm hoping that this zine does that for you as well, and maybe inspires you to make your own zine or like research new ideas and get stuck into projects and stuff, because it's just been so great, such a great way to end my year. Yeah, I really hope you like it as well, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's really nice to be back on YouTube as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye.